he here? Is he here? Ted. Ted. I love him.
No,
I
Ted.
love him so much.
It's a organization.
Ted,
No,
it's a TED
it's just
Talk.
I gotta go. It's an organization.
Well, good luck.
Thanks.
Bye.
For a long time, I carried a secret. My childhood was filled with rage and violence. Home, for me, was not the safest place to be. What becomes of someone when they grow up in a discouraging and disturbing and dysfunctional environment? Well, I became a comic and a humorist. I have learned to see the world through the lens of humor. My failures, my childhood, my waistline. And today I want to share why and how you should develop your own humor lens. The Great Fall. I fell down a flight of steps similar to these at work, all the way down. And I was so humiliated until I got on the elevator and a woman who was helping me twist my skirt back around changed my perspective with just one question. She asked me, "But did you chip your teeth?" She had chipped her teeth in a great fall, and in that moment we laughed, but more importantly, we connected. By sharing her great fall, I felt better about mine. The healing power of humor is much stronger than we think, and when I speak of humor, it's about us relating human to human. It's not bitter or self-serving or exploitive. This type of humor is called connective humor. Okay, I made up the phrase connective humor, but that's why I'm calling it. One of my favorite studies is about 50 returning POWs from Vietnam. And although they were subjected to horrific conditions and abuse, they suffered from almost no mental illness. And one of the reasons the researchers found was connecting through humor. When they asked the soldiers about the experience, one soldier said, "At first, I didn't think it was very funny." But later he said, "But eventually, I thought the group was really funny." And he talked about how the group was able to stay connected and feel a sense of control through humor. When they asked about the type of humor in a Vietnamese prison camp, one gentleman said, "You just had to be there." And you do have to be there, because it's about us relating to one another about an experience that doesn't always go according to plan. So the POW's sanity was saved by connecting through humor. But how important is connecting for us? I will tell you. A Cigna study showed that the lack of connection is the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's the health risk. When we're lonely, it's our mind's way of saying, "I need to connect." And there are so many ways for us to connect, but are we really connecting? Social media often portrays people on their very best days. And perfection is a repellent. It's vulnerability that draws us together. We connect because we can relate. So even though I'm happy for you that you ran another marathon, I can't relate because I don't even like to drive 26 miles. I connect to the people that are still trying to figure out Zoom. Their washing machines are overflowing, or 1980 senior portraits, because I can relate to them. So when you share something real about your life, it makes me feel better about my life. But what about trauma? What's the role of humor if it's cancer or death? Well, there was a laughter study in breast cancer patients, and that study referenced 32 other studies, and there were lots of charts and graphs and numbers and statistics. But the net was that the laughter therapy reduced stress, anxiety, and depression in breast cancer patients. I asked my friend Beth about this. She's a breast cancer survivor. And she said, keeping her sense of humor helped her, but it also helped the people around her, because we don't know what to say in tough moments. And seeing the funny and the not so funny makes the situation less scary. So when we laugh at a "I'm sorry your boobs tried to kill you" breast cancer mug, even though it's slightly inappropriate, it's still taking us out of the pain and the grief long enough for us to feel hope. I asked Beth about her funniest stories of breast cancer, and she told me the funniest is her dad calling her and asking her about her autopsy on the day of her biopsy. Developing your own humor lens is like building muscle, but it's more fun because you don't have to go to the gym. Step 1, find 5 funnies a day. Look for the anomalies, the ironic, and the ridiculous. These are 5 of mine. My oldest daughter was asking for a mammogram, but what she wanted was a monogram. This OBGYN is offering curbside visits. I don't know what that means, but it made me laugh just thinking about it. Move a little further. I burned dinner. I didn't overbake it. I actually caught the box of pasta on fire. Here comes Karen with her essential oils, my favorite coronavirus meme. And last, that's my dog Oliver trying to hide. It could be a funny line from a book or from a movie. It doesn't matter where you find it. Just find 5 a day. And after you've done this for a week, you'll be able to find 5 before you leave for work in the morning. Next step, write it down. Studies show just writing down your worst moments is going to make you feel better, but I'm adding some additional steps. Leave it for 30 days, and then go back and revisit your entries and look for the humor in the entries. This is why women have more than one child. Even a 48-hour delivery with no drugs invariably becomes a really funny story. Repeat as necessary. If your spouse just left you or you've been fired, it's going to take more than 30 days. I know this from personal experience. But eventually, we can find something funny in almost every situation. The last step is to share it. Not with everyone and not everything, but by allowing yourself to see the humor in your own life, you're saying, I've had my fair share of failures and suffering, and you are allowed to have yours. And together, we're going to get through this. I couldn't source who said, someday this will be funny, but it was probably Eve in the Garden of Eden. But I want to leave you with this. Imagine if you could attract more of the right people into your life and strengthen your relationships. Or if you could let go of your past mistakes, all the guilt and all the shame. Or imagine an illness or a painful childhood or a 48-hour labor with no drugs could lose some of its sting for you or for others. When you see the world through the lens of humor, the someday this could be funny could be today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Are there any questions?
Is TED on next?